Hi everyone, welcome to UX Living Lab. Our presentation will start soon. Hi, welcome to UX Living Lab. Today we are talking about how likely is a customer to recommend your brand. This is a component which is using to calculate and track CX index. We call it as advocacy. The question is how likely is the customer to recommend your brand to others? Very interesting question, and this is one of the very crucial question in branding. Okay, how likely is a customer to recommend your brand? Actually, every customer is the brand evangelist. Whatever may be your brand, it's a very simple personal brand or a global brand. Every customer you have should be propagate or should be solicit for your brand and convey your brand message to others. Then only your marketing efforts as well as your branding effort will be successful, and that also measures the confidence of the customer on your brand and loyalty. You can use different terms, but your customer should be the solicitor. They solicit or they should be an evangelist for your brand. So the question is how likely is the customer to recommend your brand? So consider this question, or looking to this question, considering your experience, how likely would you be recommend? You can insert the brand name there, to your friend or colleague. How do you feel about this question? Some people are more familiar with this question, but if you are people not familiar with this question, read it again. Considering you are, we are asking to your customer, you are asking to your customer, considering your experience, how likely would you be recommend then your brand to your friend or colleague? What will be the answer of your customer? Are you familiar with the question? Then you can connect these two. NPS. This is a critical question. That's only one question in NPS. In NPS, that is Net Promoter Score. This is one of the prominent model used nowadays by almost all the companies, all the big companies, to measure the loyalty of customers. So there is in that questionnaire, in NPS model, there's only one question. This is only one question. Considering your experience, how likely would you be recommend my brand to your friends or colleagues? For example, if I am asking, considering your experience, how likely would you be recommend UX Living Lab to your friend or colleague? That is a question. Okay, what is NPS? NPS is by definition, Net Promoter Score is the percentage of customers rating their likelihood to recommend a brand, a product, or a service to a friend or colleague as 9 or 10. This when we give 9 or 10, that's called promoters, minus the percentage rating this at 6 or below. That's called detractors on a scale of 0 to 10. What it is? If you have a scale of 0 to 10 and asking this question whether you will recommend this brand to your friend or colleague, what they will answer? They can answer 0 or they can answer 10, they can answer 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to 10. So, what will be their answer? If their answer is 9 or 10, the model consider this category of customers as promoters. They are satisfied and they will promote. Then, if the people answer between 0 and 6, it's called detractors. So, NPS is calculated based on the percentage of customers saying 9 or 10 minus the percentage of customers saying 0 to 6. Okay. Respondents who provide score 7 and there is what, two more points, so 7 and 8. So respondents who provide a score of 7 and 8 are referred to as passives and do indeed enter into the overall percentage calculation because the total is based on that. Those 7 and 8 called passives, but we are not subtracting it from any detractor, from the promoters numbers, promoters percentage, but still it is in relevant in the calculation because it's part of the total when we calculate percentages. So this is the model, very simple thing. So I can just explain with one calculation how we calculate NPS. You think that there are 1,000 customers you are talking about your brand, then promoters, the people who, the customers who gives 9 and 10 to that question, answering to that question is 400. Then 7 or 8 will be 300. Then 0 to 6 will be 300. So promoters are 400 and passives 300, detractors 300. Then what is NPS? 400 by 1000 into 100, that is what is the percentage of promoters minus what is the percentage of detractors, 300 by 1000 into 100, so 40 by 30, there's a 10 is your NPS. Very simple calculation, very simple measure to benchmark your loyalty. It's called NPS. This week nowadays in the modern branding method we call it as, this is the only one number you need to grow. Look into this number continuously. The NPS is typically interpreted and used as an indicator of customer loyalty. NPS has been widely adopted by Fortune 500. What is the psychology behind it? Why people are more interested in NPS? Because think about a very simple scenario. If your customer is recommending your brand to his colleagues or friend, think about that customer. He is having full confidence on your brand. Otherwise, he won't recommend to his friend. Otherwise, he will recommend to his uh, he won't recommend to friend or colleague if he's not having the confidence. So think about that psychological scenario. Otherwise, the customer, what they will say, I already use this product, this brand, but it's a headache for me, don't use it. That is a duty of a good friend to recommend when there is a question from a colleague or friend. That is a duty of the person who should give a genuine answer, the etc. Because then only we can consider that person as a friend. That genuinity should be there. So the customer will say that I already use this brand, but creates a lot of headaches for me. So don't use it. That is one way of conveying message about your brand to his colleagues and friends. But think about the other situation. Your customer is saying, okay, I am using that. Okay, what type of TV you are using? I'm saying, I'm using this brand of TV. That's a really great and it's very reliable TV as well as the service is good. So you had to you had to buy that. That words gives very high weightage than your advertisement. Whatever what your salesperson is saying, whatever promotional method you are using, more than that, this word gives high weightage among a new customer who is looking to buy a product and he's asking or he's getting reference from his friends, because for that customer the words from his friend or colleague is more reliable than your advertisement. So that's why it's called promoters. So your customer should be your promoter. That is a concept behind it. So this is the only way people will propagate your brand. That your existing customers should have confidence on your product, on your brand. That is the psychology behind it. That's why people interpret this score as customer loyalty. Only the loyal customers will recommend your brand, otherwise won't. Okay, how to measure this? I already said there's very simple measurement, 0 to 10. So if a customer saying that answer to that question, give the mark 0 to 6, that's called detractors, and 7 and 8 is passives, and 9 to 10 is promoters. Then what is promoter? Promoters are loyal enthusiasts who will keep buying and refer others. That is actually they are working as your sales agent. In a simple sentence, I can say they are the sales agent. They are promoting your product. Passives. Passives are satisfied but unenthusiastic customers who are vulnerable to competitive offerings. Passives is 7 to 8. They said, okay, that's good. Okay. But you can consider other brands also. It won't make any headache, but it's okay. That's all. So that's called passives. What is detractors? Detractors are unhappy customers. They say this brand makes this product. Don't go for this. This product creates a lot of headaches. Think about a costly product like a car or a house, and a very simple product like a yogurt. So whether your brand, yogurt brand, will recommended by a customer or not recommended. Oh, okay. This just I don't know which brand it is, or I am not recommending any brand. You can. That's called passives. So otherwise, it's detractors. It's unhappy customers. If they had yogurt and they are unhappy, that is, they are not happy with your product taste or whatever may be the reason. They say that okay, this is not a good product, and don't buy any product from that brand. I have a very bad experience. Don't use it. Look into that. This is happening in a cafe. When there are multi-brand ice creams or yogurt is available in a cafe, so what yogurt do you prefer? Okay, they look into, okay, this company is providing, no, that company is not good, so we can go for other company. So this is happening between the friends and colleagues. So that's why this score is very important. Once a customer taste your product or interact with your product, they should have confidence on the product and brand. Otherwise, it creates very dangerous word of mouth. Then it's a very dangerous voice of customer propagating your brand name and qualities of your brand. In total, we can say this says brand loyalty. So detractors are unhappy customers who can damage your brand and impede growth through negative word of mouth. This is a definition. Very simple model. Anybody can use it. That's why that's most popular. About 2/3 of the companies are using this. How to interpret net promoter score? Net promoter score is always expressed as the numbers from -100 to 100. That is -100 to +100. The score is negative when a company has more detractors. When the detractors are more, because we are subtracting percentage of detractors from percentage of promoters. When the detractors percentage is more, it will give us negative score. When a company has more detractors than promoters, and positive when the opposite. Then when the promoters are more, you'll get the positive NPS, and detractors are more, you'll get negative NPS. Then if both are equal, you will get 0. What is good NPS score? When what we consider as a good NPS, given the available the negative 100 to positive 100 range, any score above 100 you can read as good. That's okay, because your number of promoters are more than detractors. That is good, because it indicates that business has more promoters than detractors. But big companies generally have NPS of 70 and above. That is, in 100 they have 70 and above. A perfect score of 100 indicates that every customer would recommend a company or brand to someone else. So think about 100. There is no detractors. Every customer you have will promote your brand. That is a score nobody can reach. There is at least one customer who won't recommend your brand. Okay, so above than 70 is a good performance, but anyway, above than 0 is considered as good. Then what is bad NPS? Any score below 100 indicates that business has more detractors than promoters. That's a bad sign. And we can interpret more. An NPS score of -3, that is, detractors are more, may be seen as bad in isolation. That is, when you look only to -3, you can consider it as bad. But think about the industry average. So industry average itself is -10. Then score would not as bad as you think. Think in that way. If you are it's a banking brand, the industry score is -10. Nobody is interested to go to bank. But your brand is having only -3. That is a good sign. That's what it explains. Because why I'm connecting to bank is when we connect this type of research with banks, this is what we face in some countries, because people are not interested with whatever the bank is providing, because their services, their way of interaction, nobody is interested to promote their brand. So the industry score itself is in negative, but your brand will be better than that industry score. That we can consider as a good sign. Not bad, we can say not bad, because anyway, the negative NPS is a sign that a business has to reduce the number of unhappy customers and generate more promoters. And whenever there is a negative NPS, you have to look into that. Okay, what method we can use to measure? Very simple. There's only one question we have, that is questionnaire method. And you can also use story method. It's a qualitative method, but I won't recommend it for NPS. If you are using qualitative method, then again you have to interpret that story in the context of NPS, then get the answers. Anyway, NPS is a quantitative measurement. If you are using qualitative questionnaires, then calculating NPS from that, there should be a mediator questionnaire, that is interim questionnaire. Interviewer will be judging the stories against this question and generate the answers. So that is a method if you are using qualitative data collection, but in quantitative, that's perfect. Then how to measure? This scale to be used to measure the individual NPS. That is, you have to ask to every customer the same question. Considering your experience, how likely would you be recommend our brand to your friend or colleague? You have to ask this question to every customer. That is individual measurement. Then you can take the group mean, that is, you can segment the customers with the gender specific, gender wise you can segment, or age wise you can segment, income wise you can segment, geography wise you can segment, psychologically you can segment. There are a lot of segmentation methods are available. So you can segment the method, then ask. So you can say that this category of people giving good NPS, but this category of people is not giving good NPS. Like that, you can analyze different methods. So total mean you can calculate, at the same time category wise. Then compare with industry standard. As I said, okay, what is the industry standard? Whether I'm performing better than industry standard or not. These are the stages of measurement. Then continuous measurement is a good method. So you have to develop a time series for continuity. This is the way you have to measure. I can demonstrate with a model, very simple, but the model is very simple. That's why I'm not going deep into the model, because everybody can easily understand this. And I am 100% sure that you already experienced with questions from some of the brands. Maybe you are flying, airline will, while landing, they will show this. Okay, in most of the websites, they are showing the question somewhere. Do you recommend Canva to others? Do you recommend LinkedIn to others? So like that. So you will get these type of questions. Anyway, I'll explain with a model. Think that very simple context. The lady is having coffee in Starbucks. So considering your experience, how likely would you be to recommend Starbucks to your friends or colleagues? That's a question we are put in front of this lady. Considering your experience, how likely would you be to recommend Starbucks to your friend or colleague? She can answer in the scale: very likely. If zero is very likely, then one. Very sorry, the zero is very unlikely. Then zero, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's a neutral point. Then 6, 7, 8, 10 is very likely. This scale is should be shown in front of that customer, and they had to mark. Considering your experience, how likely would you be to recommend Starbucks to your friend or colleagues? Then the same question will be asking to 1,000 customers, because we have to consider the total, not like an individual measurement. And also we have to take, we have to define a sample size, how much sample you have to uh, take for reliability. So you have to define a sample size, maybe category wise. Okay, again, you can define the sample size wise, income wise, age wise, or gender wise, like that. But in this model, we are taking the 1,000 is a total without considering any other segment. We can any other segmentation. We can consider 1,000 customers and asking this question. Then what will be the answer? Think about the answers are detractors. That is who measured, uh, who give the answer to the question 0 to 6 is 200. Then passives 7 and 8 is 300. Promoters is 500. So the promoters are more in this scenario. Promoters are more than passives are more than detractors. That's a good sign. So the total 1,000. So what will be the percentage? That is 200 by 1,000 into 100. That is 20 for detractors. Passives 300 by 1,000 into 100. That is 30. Then promoters 500 by 1,000 into 100. That is 50. This is the percentage. That's a total 100. Then what is the score in PS? That is percentage of promoters minus percentage of detractors. That is 50 minus 20. It's 30. 30 is the score. That's a positive NPS. Then compare with industry standard. Maybe the industry standard is 50, then it's a bad score. But then compare with the industry standard. Industry standard can be 10. That's a good score. That's the way you have to compare our brand. So this is the way you have to calculate NPS and compare. Okay, what is NPS in total? That is a summary about NPS. NPS is an NPS, that is Net Promoter Score, measures the loyalty of a brand's customer based with a score from minus 100 to plus 100, which comes from customers and answering the question, how likely are you recommend this brand to a friend or colleague? Okay, so that I already explained this between -100 and +100, and I have only one question: how likely, uh, how likely are you recommend this brand to a friend or colleague? Then the way you measure your promoters by checking how many people score you 9 and 10 in the NPS survey. So what will be the sample size? Depending on the sample size, how many people scored 9 or 10 in that scale? That's called NPS. Then NPS is a useful number for evaluating and benchmarking your business, but its real value is in the answers to the follow-up questions to get to ask as part of the survey. Okay, they can give the score. What is next? You have to add a prompting question, or you have to add an open question, like what is the main reason for your score? Okay, one person give the score as 9. What is the main reason for the score? A person is giving 3. What can we do to improve our business and your score? That type of following questions give more clarity to the NPS score, that is more relevant. So in NPS, when you calculate NPS score, you can add a qualitative question: what can we do to improve our business or your score, and what can we do to owe you? That is, how to make it 10. So what are the, if you are okay, your score is 9, then how we can make it to 10? What we are lacking for that? You are not giving the score the value as 10. What we are lacking? So that type of qualitative questions you can add, that is more valuable and more gives more insights to the score given by the customer. Okay, I'm done. I hope I explained this model in a simple, this very simple model, and started in 2001, and recommended by a management expert and a university professor. But it's you now about two-thirds of the companies are using this method. That's why you notice this typical question in different brands. That is very important. This is the same question. Maybe you are in flight, you'll get the same question. You are in a cafe, then you'll get the same question. Different type of industries, different brands, they are using this method to measure the loyalty. Okay, so you can also use this whenever you sell a product to a customer after sales process. When they after they purchase, you can ask the question at any moment. Maybe after you do the sales, after sales service, you can use this questionnaire. You can connect with the different context. Maybe after purchase, maybe after 1 month, or maybe after 1 year, or at any moment you can uh, use this questionnaire and connect the context. That's the way you have to use it. So that context also give the uh, relevance of the score. So different ways you can do this. But the question is very important. That is only one question we have, and add the insights question, that is open end question, after making the score. So that's a very simple model. Okay, if you have any questions, you can scan this QR code and connect to me. I'm happy to discuss anything connected to open innovation journey as well as this type of management models. We are in the process of CX index tracking, and how we can develop this CX index in a company. That these are the different components. These are 6 components I explained. That is advocacy. Advocacy mainly talking about NPS. So questions. Okay, if just one question, how we can measure, there are a lot of other factors considered by the customer. Yes, there are, you can go for a detailed questionnaire. That is a different type of survey. But the problem in front of the scientist, when that management expert, when he developed this model, what he addressed is whether we can make a one simple tool to measure everything, to indicate everything from the customer's point of view. That is the question in front of that manager expert while developing this tool. That's whether any, you can consider as a one single number you have to measure. What is one measurement we can, it will indicate everything about the customer's recommendation. That's why he developed this model. So you can use a detailed questionnaire for getting more answers, more getting different context. But this is very simple, and customer is very happy to give this score. Very simple measurement to track. That's why this model is used, and that's why this model is one of the measures and most prominent and most used measures in promoter score, in loyalty. Because anyway, you have to measure the loyalty. That is very important. You have to measure the loyalty of your customers. Then only you can finalize the strategies. So measuring the loyalty, whether you can use a very simple and one point tool, this is the answer. That's why this model has been developed. Otherwise, you can go for a detailed questionnaire. You can go for a 1 hour interview and ask this, measure the loyalty. Okay, this is established model nowadays. That is NPS. And what is a critic? The challenging point other scientists are rising against this model is likelihood. That is likely how, in that question, do you, considering all your experience, how likely you will be recommending this brand to your colleague. That word gives lot of meaning, lot of biased impressions in customers' mind. That is the argument against this model. But I think you can nullify that bias using statistical method. That's okay. Don't consider it only one answer from one customer. Okay, he's also an unhappy customer. You can talk, you can address that customer, but nullify all the biases using statistical method, and you can make a time series and continue. Okay, thank you so much. And next week we'll be doing the concluding section for all these 6 indicators we had to measure to develop the model as model for customer experience index. That is different components we discussed about the effectiveness, easiness, retention, advocacy, etc. All these models will be connecting together and developing it as a formula for calculating customer experience index of your brand. Stay tuned. Thank you so much.